Did you know that there were over 10,000 different religions? Yet we can break all those down into 3 world views. Pretty amazing, right? That's what we're going to be talking about today, is the 3 main world views of really every religion. So stay tuned and we'll break that down. By the way, my name is Dalton, and this is Bible Life, where we tackle life's hardest questions with biblical answers. So if that interests you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, so every time a new video comes out like this, you'll be able to be notified and watch it. And do me a favor, if you like the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. It really helps out the video to get out to more people, more Christians and more non-Christians, if you will. So today, we're going to be talking about really the top 5 religions, because let's be honest, if I went over all 10,000 religions in one video, nobody would want to watch that video, including me. I don't even want to make that video. So if you could, in the comments, see if you can do it. See if you can list the top 5 religions of the world. And if you're feeling froggy, go ahead and list how many followers they have. I went ahead and cheated and used Google. Don't do that. Don't do it. Go ahead and pause the video. Put in the comments what the top 5 you think are, and be honest, huh? I'll give you a moment to pause it. All right, welcome back. If you pause it, if not, you're cheating. I know you. I've seen it. Don't do that. Anyway, so here's the top 5 religions in order from most to least. Here we go. Christianity, it's a big surprise, 2.3 billion followers. The next would be Islam, or Muslims. They have 1.5 billion. Hindu, they have 900 million. Buddhist, 400 million. And then some people would say this is not a religion. I personally believe it is, because it takes faith to believe in what they believe in. But however you want to classify it, atheist/agnostic, there are 1 billion of those. So that's why I didn't put it in the ranking. Technically, it would be right under Islam or Muslim. But I didn't want to offend too many people by putting it under a religion. But hey, it is what it is, right? So, according to Wikipedia, take your news sources from where you want, there are over 10,000 religions in the world, with about 84% of the entire world's population in the top 5, those 5 that we just read off. How close did you get, by the way? I'm going to be checking those comments, so we'll see. Now, that poses the question, how can there only be 3 world views? Well, here's the world views. You have atheist, right? Atheist is a worldview. Atheist means no God, okay? So atheist, agnostic is kind of like its own deal. We'll get into that in a minute here. But you have atheist, pantheism, you have atheism, pantheism, and theism, okay? 1, 2, 3. And agnostic's kind of hanging out by itself over here, and we'll discuss that here in a bit. But so the first worldview is theism, right? And that is God made all. He is outside of what he made, and he made it all. So you have Judaism, Christianity, Islam, those type of religions, right? And you have several denominations underneath those 3. But theism is where God made everything. We're going to liken it to kind of a painter and a painting. It's as if a painter took a brush and made a painting. He is creating that painting, but he is not a part of it, okay? And that's where it's different from pantheism. So number 1, theism. That's where Christianity, Judaism, Islam, all those religions are. Number 2 is pantheism, okay? This is where God is all, okay? Pantheism is like Zen Buddhism, Hinduism, the New Age movement, right? It's where God is all, is everything. So instead of like theism, where the painter paints the painting, the painter is in the painting. So, for instance, like with pantheism, God is in me. God is in you. God is in the house. God is in the ground. God is in the flowers, the trees, the grass, the fish, the animals. God is in everything. Therefore, everything is God, and God is everything, right? Pantheism. Now, atheism, right, is no God at all. Everything just has eternally existed. And this is your religious humanism, atheist, not agnostic. Agnostic has kind of its own deal going on. So it's not necessarily, people claim it as a worldview, agnosticism, but I think if they knew what it actually meant and what it was, they probably wouldn't claim it. Because what does agnostic mean? In the Greek, a means, no. A means not or without, and gnostic is knowing or knowledge. So agnostic literally means without knowledge. So you're claiming that you are without knowledge. So the fact is there's truth out in this world. There's absolute truth. And by the way, that's going to be a future video if you're interested. What is absolute truth? Can it be known? Spoiler alert, yes it can. And we're going to go over that in the next future video. So we're going to just go ahead and cancel out being agnostic, because you either do or you don't. There's no, I don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, you can wear that badge if you want to, but I'm not going to. So today we're going to be talking about theism, atheism, and pantheism, right? So atheism, we'll start back into this and work our way back to number one. Number three, atheism, no God at all. If you didn't see my previous video of evidence of God, I would recommend that, because we go over in detail basically all the evidences for God and why, not all of them, there's actually a lot, but we went over quite a few, really proving that there is a creator, not that we eternally existed. We go over Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity, and how he basically through mathematics proved that the universe had a beginning. And whereas atheism states that it always existed, right? So atheism is believing in the scientific impossibility that nothing created everything, right? So the beings of light, the beings of intelligence, the scientific community, atheists, those who claim all those things, believe in the scientific impossibility that nothing created everything. So basically atheism, religious humanism, believing that all people are essentially good, it's been proven wrong. You know, it's been scientifically, religiously, spiritually wrong. It's been proven wrong. There's a beginning to the creation. We know who created it. We have a creator. And so atheism, you can claim that if you want, but it's just your own belief. It's faith. You have faith that there is no God when there's a lot of evidence pointing that there is God. You have to have more faith to believe that there's no God than that there is God. And again, this is all in my previous video. There's evidence for God, and I'd highly recommend you watch that if you're interested in more conversation about this. So now we're going back to number two, which is pantheism, right? Pantheism. That is where God is all, right? That is where the painter is not separate from the painting. It's all one thing, right? Hinduism, New Age, Zen, Buddhism. So the reason why this is such a big, awesome deal, really, is because if you boil all the religions down and you kind of go through them factually and scientifically, C.S. Lewis, I can't remember the exact quote, but basically he said it would all boil down to two different religions, Christianity and Hinduism. Why? Christianity claims exclusiveness. Jesus says, John 14:6, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Hinduism, New Age, Buddha, they all kind of claim the same thing, but Hinduism more specifically really say that all paths to lead to God, right? So here you have Christianity, who is exclusive, only one way, it's Jesus, and that's it. And then you have Hinduism, which is everything, all ways lead to God, right? So you have these two competing ideas, and in the end, one wins out. And yeah, I guess we can all guess which one that will be. But for the most part, Buddhism, Hinduism, and New Age, they all have kind of the same idea that God is in all and all is in God. So what you're trying to achieve really through these ideas is what's called a Christ consciousness, okay? And this is kind of what Jim Jones, the cult leader who took all those people to South America and tragically did the suicide, drinking the Kool-Aid. He had this idea that Jesus was not God in the flesh, but that he achieved some sort of spiritual consciousness that we all can achieve, and was trying to get everyone to achieve that, right? Hinduism, the New Age movement, Buddhism is all about achieving a higher consciousness within ourselves. It's saying that God, we are God. And the thing that separates us from God is ourselves not knowing what that God consciousness is. When you compare that to Christianity, what separates us from God is our sin, right? And the only way to reconcile our sin to God is through the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Hinduism is just looking in yourself, your inner self, as being, learning about their different gods. And they have a bunch of different gods too, but each god will lead you and protect you in a certain way, but all to awaken that inner consciousness of your Christ consciousness, essentially. And there are different, just like with any religion in Hinduism, different sects of Hinduism. But there's one specifically who claims Jesus, who claims that Christ consciousness. And they basically deny Jesus of the Bible. Right? I mean, they'll say, oh yeah, we believe in Jesus of the Bible, but it's not the Jesus of the Bible. What is the definition of a cult, by the way? A cult is a counterfeit Jesus. If anybody claims Jesus, and then you ask him, well, who is he? And if he's anything other than God in the flesh and our salvation alone, he's counterfeit, right? If he's Michael the Archangel, if he's created and the brother of the devil, if he is just a consciousness, if he was a man that achieved a consciousness, anything other than God come in the flesh, anything other than our salvation alone, that means Jesus plus nothing, nothing plus Jesus can get you to heaven. It's just Christ and him alone, right? Our faith, Ephesians 2:9, our faith in him alone. Then if it's anything other than that, it's counterfeit. It's a counterfeit bill. I'm reading this book called Kingdom of the Cults. It's by Walter Martin, and he goes over a whole bunch of different, I guess you'd call them religions, whatever you want to call it, cults. I don't want to be rude, but he goes over Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses, Hinduism, New Age, all this good stuff. And what he said basically was, the best way to get to be able to spot or to know a cult is to know the original, right? Is to know who Jesus actually is. He gave an example. What does a treasury person do in Washington, D.C. to get to be able to be good at spotting counterfeit bills? Well, you would think that they would put them in a room full of counterfeit bills and look at one and feel them and touch them. No, that's not what they do. They send them for 3 to 6 months to the head place of the treasury where they print the bills, where bills come through, and they literally spend 3 to 6 months just handling the original thing. So they get so familiar with the original bill that anytime a fake comes along to try to pass it off, they'll know. They'll say, oh, well, this mark isn't on the original bill, or this watermark isn't here, that number's off, these aren't the original serial numbers. You get the point. You have to be so familiar with the original that whenever a fake comes along It's really easy to spot, right? So anyway, pantheism is where God is in all. And we kind of hit on it a minute ago before I went off my cult tangent, that the thing that separates a pantheist from God is basically their own self and deepening their awareness in their self. You see it in yoga, you see it in these things where people will kind of put their bodies through the ringer and just kind of meditate their minds away. I mean, some of these people get down to like skin and bones trying to deepen their level of subconsciousness or self-consciousness to a point of just pure exhaustion. And it always reminds me of that scene in the Caddyshack.
Gunga, galunga. Gunga, gunga, gunga. So we finish 18, and he's going to stiff me. And I say, hey, Lama, hey, how about a little something, for the effort, And he says, there won't be any money. But when you die, on your deathbed, you will receive total consciousness. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
That always cracks me up. Well, I got that going for me. So anyway, that's kind of what they're going for, is the ultimate consciousness, God consciousness, And then what is the afterlife for them? They got different theories, reincarnation, this, that, and the other. But essentially, if you really think about it, and I mean this in love, and I mean this in good kindness, but it's the pantheist movement, either New Age, Buddhism, Hinduism, is one of the most selfish religions that there are, because you're constantly focused on yourself. Whereas compare that to Christianity, and Jesus says you got to die daily. You have to pick up your cross and follow me. That means you're literally going to your death every day. It means you have to get rid of your will, your pride, your wants, your needs, and you need to serve others, and you need to serve Christ, and you need to die. You have to literally kill yourself, not physically, by the way, spiritually and mentally. You have to kill yourself every single day to be a Christian, to be a follower of Christ, right? Do we do it? That's another story, but we try our best. But the point is that the difference is, like C.S. Lewis said, the only two standing would be Christianity and Hinduism, right? Hinduism, where all paths lead to God. Everyone is essentially good, and the only thing stopping us to get to God is us, right? Christianity, we have all sinned. We've all fallen short of the glory of God. But God gave us grace, that through His Son, we might have life, right? And if we put our trust and our faith in the saving grace of Jesus Christ, we will be saved, right? And He calls us to die to ourselves, to die to our will, and to live for Him. To die to ourselves and live for Him. And so that's the stark difference and the stark contrast. And I don't know about you, but for Hinduism, me trying to get to God by myself, I know who I am. I'm a terrible person without Christ, okay? I'm selfish. I'm everything bad that any person could be. And if you really think about it, everyone else is too. So trying to get to God by yourself, it's impossible, right? I like to use this analogy that Pastor Davis gave me. He said, people who think they can work their way to God, New Age, even there's some people who claim to be Christian who have the idea that I can be good enough to get to God, right? And so the analogy goes like this. It's like, okay, imagine I'm God, you're a good person, right? And I had a bad day. I've been trying to organize the world. People aren't listening to me. They're just, terrible sinners. They don't want to listen. They don't want to do the things they want to do. And so I get home and I'm just like, man, this was a terrible day. And all of a sudden you call me up. Ring, ring. Hello? Hey, how's it going? Oh, pretty good, I guess. Well, what do you mean? You sound kind of down. Oh, well, I've been trying to organize the world and people don't want to listen. They're just rebellious and sinful. And man, it just gets to me sometime. Oh, well, why don't I come over and make you a nice meal? Oh, really? You want to make me a meal? Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. I got a bunch of groceries and stuff. I'm going to come over and whip you up a meal real quick. Well, you don't have to do that. Just click. Oh, okay. So I'm waiting. I'm kind of excited, right? I'm waiting. I can't wait to see my friend come over and cook me a good meal. The doorbell rings and open the door and I see a whole grocery bag full of just like filet mignon, lobster, shrimp, sausage, all the good, anything good food you can think of. I get excited and I look up and the friend holding this stuff is sick. Like green, foggy haze of nasty germinous COVID-19 sick, right? I'm like, hey guy, how you feeling? And he's like, oh, I'm feeling fine. I just want to cook something and make you feel better, man. Oh man, so I feel bad, he came all the way over here with the food, I maybe he can just come in and hang out with me a little bit, come on in, just take a seat, just sit way over there, and so he comes in, we sit down, and I'm gonna start cooking for you. No, don't worry about it, please, green fog following him as he walks through. So he's in the kitchen, man, he's whipping it up. It's smelling good, you got that lobster boiling, that steak frying, you got the shrimp boiling, sausage cooking, man, you got the asparagus burning up, right? And he's making it smell good, but the whole time he's in there cooking, this is what you hear is blowing his nose. And so you're thinking to yourself, oh man, there's no way I'm gonna eat this stuff, right? I mean, he's sitting there coughing all over it, he's blowing his nose all over it. So he makes this whole meal, he brings it to you, he sets it down, says, how about it? And crashes on the couch because he feels terrible. Are you gonna eat that meal? You're gonna eat when that dude just coughed and sneezed all over you? No, you're not. You're not gonna eat it because he has a green foggy haze of germy nastiness, viral bacteria stuff all over it, right? That's what it's like when we try to work for God. When we try to work with our own sinful nature. So he says, the Bible says all of our righteousness is as filthy rags, leprous, used, rags. It's disgusting, right? The same way that meal, it smelled good. Good works are good, but who's doing them, right? At the end of the day, we're not judged on our good works. If you go to prison for a crime, the judge doesn't say, well, that one time in 2008, you really did help that one guy out by, pulling him out of the mud or whatever. No, you get judged on the crime. And that's how God judges us. And so Jesus, when he died, he paid that fine for that crime. And thank God we have that for us. And that's where the difference is between theism and pantheism. Now, that kind of brings up the other theist, right? Islam, Judaism, all the other really religions. And it's kind of really the same thing. What separates Christianity from Islam or Jehovah's Witnesses or, Mormons? It's really the same thing as Jesus Christ. Because Jehovah's Witnesses, they believe that Jesus is Michael the Archangel. That doesn't work because in Hebrews, it says that he is greater than all the angels, right? Hebrews chapter 1. After making purifications for sins, it says Hebrews 1:3. He is the radiance of the glory of God. He's talking about Jesus. And the exact imprint of his nature. He upholds the universe by the word of his power. After making purifications for sins, he sat down at the right hand of the Majesty on high, having become so much superior to angels as the name he has inherited more excellent than theirs. For to which of the angels did God ever say, you are my son, today I have begotten you? Or again, I will be a father. I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. He never said that to any angel, right? So, again, what you have is the difference between Jesus alone and everything else. In Islam, they believe Jesus existed. They believed he was a great prophet. They believed that he never died, right? And so in Islam, what do you have to do to be saved? To be a Muslim, to be a saved Muslim, you have to basically hope and pray that you make it. You have to make your trips to Mecca. You've got to pray a certain number of times a day. You got to abstain from pork and stuff like that. And so it's basically a do enough good that you make it kind of thing, right? And that just doesn't work. I mean, as I just explained, that doesn't work. You know, Christ is the only way. He said in John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life, right? So out of all the theisms, Christianity wins out because Christ, who was God in the flesh, died, who was so much better than the angels, gave his life for the ransom of all. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. In pantheism, Christianity wins out because it's not about ourselves and our self-consciousness. I mean, you can meditate until you're blue in the face, but you're never going to have a spiritual awakening until you die to yourself and give your life to Christ. Christ then quickens the spirit. He brings life back to the spirit. And atheism, no God at all, which there's plenty of evidence to show there is a God. Now, if you're agnostic, I hope that this changed your mind somehow. That, there is knowledge out there. There is truth. And this may not be the best way to get truth, but truth is in the Bible. It's been verified time and time again. The most intriguing, most evidenced, most investigated book of all time. It still stands supreme. So I'd recommend getting in the Bible and start learning about the man, the God, Jesus Christ. Well, guys, I appreciate you every time you come in and watch my videos. It really humbles me. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hope it makes sense. And we're going to be exploring some more questions. If you got any questions, drop them in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching and have a blessed day.